In this video, we're back in the FIAs for another race, hoping for a better result than last time out to make sure we remain on track for our goal, which is of course getting to A+. Hey guys, Iri is here and welcome along to another video. If this is your first time here and you like watching all sorts of sim racing related stuff, then subscribe now and click the bell icon as well so you get notified of every video I upload and you don't miss a thing. Now, you join me here for some pre-race practice. I spent a bit of time practicing for this one, as you can see, and managed a 1:30.849, which upon reflection was actually just over half a second, about 0.6 of a second off Kai actually, so not too mad at that effort at all. So moving on to the race session itself then, we were in the pre-race lobby before qualifying and it turns out I was car number 14 for this one. And then going on to fuel save for the next 8 of the 10 minutes of this qualification session. Well, as a side note actually, wouldn't it just be lovely if we could set our own fuel levels and stop this absolute ridiculousness of juggling trying not to bounce off the rev limiter whilst also trying not to get in the way of those who don't care about fuel at all and who are just getting on with it. I think they've got the right idea actually. Doing that would be a much more fun way to get quali done. But anyway, time was looking a bit close for comfort, so I was attacking this lap as if it was my last. Normally I put in a banker at this point and put in a 1:31.914, putting me in 4th at that point, 0.321 off pole. And although we crossed the line with moments to spare, giving us one more lap, that was to prove to be my fastest lap, and we were pushed down one place to 5th after all was said and done. But as car number 14, I'm not too unhappy with that effort either, and we take this quali result into the race. So here we are then, lined up on the grid for 17 laps here at Interlagos. As you can see there, I'm just getting my OCD related things out the way, which is where I go into chase cam, flick it backwards. I don't know why. If anyone's got OCD like I have, you know, you just can't explain it. It is what it is. But anyway, you'll also would have seen there that I'm in another classic livery, the Monster Munch Mercedes, which is still to this day my absolute favourite. So any chance I get to use it, I do so. So as we get away here for 17 laps at Interlagos, we're going to come down to the first corner. The Lambo up ahead is going to go a bit wide there, but from our point of view, everything is reasonably comfortable at this point. It's a longer race, so we just need to woosah and let this whole thing settle down. But coming into turn number 4 here, I'm going to manage to make a move up the inside of this GTR from a long way back. But I managed to make the apex. There was a little bit of contact there. In my view, that was because he turned in on me. I had the corner. But as always, let me know what you thought of that one in the comments section down below. Was it a fair move by me or not a fair move by me? Either way, I'm keen to know what you think of that one, but we're through to 4th anyway, which is a whole 10 places above our door number, so things are looking pretty good early in this one. Moving ahead slightly, we're coming into turn number 1 of lap 3, and the Spaniard who we overtook on the first lap is going to come back through, pushing us back down to 5th. But I'm not too worried. In these longer races, especially in the early stages of these longer races, it is very important in my view just to let the race settle down. Plus, looking ahead, the front 3 have remained close, so if this GTI who's just come through gets a move on, which I suspect he will, there is a likelihood that by getting past me, he will be released to go chase down the front 3. And when he gets there, hopefully he's going to get amongst it like he did with me, and if that does happen, they're all going to start battling, which will lose them all time and allow me to catch up whilst keeping to my strategy, rather than blowing my beans like I did last time out at Sardinia, which led to a pretty poor result, as we all know, at the end of the day. So again, whilst I'm going to need to stop in this one, any chance I have to drive efficiently, I will, which will hopefully mean, as I tried last time to do but failed, I will spend as little time as possible stationary after the tyre change, topping up with fuel. So I've touched on strategy, so I may as well go into it as we circulate here in 5th. The strategy for today is going to be a one stopper, and I'm going to be, if all goes to plan that is, coming in on lap 8 for some medium tyres and a splash of fuel. Now the eagle-eyed amongst you will have noticed that I'm currently running with mediums on the front and hards on the rear here. The reason for this is because you need to use both the medium and hard compound here, because if you don't, you'll get a 20-second penalty slapped on you after the race. And by doing this, putting the mediums on the front and hards on the rear, I am meeting that criteria. Now, I'm not too sure about this one. Morally, I'm not a fan. It feels like I'm cheating the game slightly, as I'll be quicker than those using hards on both the front and the rears. But all isn't roses though. By using the different compounds on different parts of the car, as you'll see that it really affects the handling of the car, and something that I really quite struggle with. I've set the brake bias back quite far at +4 to do everything I can to save the fronts during this stint. But the handling of the car kind of evolves throughout the stint. At the start, the fronts are going to be gripping really quite a lot because they're mediums as opposed to hard. So it means that I'm going to get a lot of oversteer under braking. And as the stint goes on, the fronts are going to wear, but the rears aren't going to wear, as they are obviously the harder compound. And then I'm going to get understeer. It's a very weird feeling, something I'm not used to, and it has almost caught me out a number of times, as you would have seen earlier in this video. But if you're okay with it morally, and I obviously don't care about it that much as I'm doing it, and if you want to try it but don't know how to put the split compounds on the car, all you need to do is go to the car settings menu in the lobby after the quali, but before the race obviously, and change it there. But on that point, let me know where you stand morally on that. Are you okay with it, or do you think there's an element of cheating involved? It's an interesting debate, and I'd be keen to know what you think in the comments section down below. Jumping ahead to lap number 7 here, we've covered the strategy and the whole tyre thing, which I still feel reasonably dirty about, but again, not dirty enough to actually do anything about it and go onto the sole compound, so I'm not going to preach too much. But let's get back to the race. We've come across the line to start lap number 7, and exactly what I'd had hoped to happen by letting the GTR through has happened. The Spaniard in the GTR has left me in the dust and gotten onto the back of the front three, which is led by the green Lambo, followed by the Mazda and then another GTR. But look up ahead here, it is going to imminently start kicking off. As the front four come into turn number 60, a Tenza is going to chuck it up the inside of the Hurricane, pushing them both wide, and then we're going to be 3 wide momentarily. The Hurricane there, you would have seen, is then going to chuck it right in there himself, probably out of frustration, which you could let him off for, to be honest, but it's going to backfire and he's going to get himself a 1 second penalty for the contact. We're then going to get a run on him up the hill. He leaves the door open, so I say thank you very much, and up into 4th we go, and I think he loses it in the background if you have a look at the radar there. This is obviously very good for us, as we are now running 10 places above our door number once again, which, if we can keep this position or even improve, will work wonders for our driver rating, which has taken a bit of a battering of late, which is a shame really, as we were on a roll. But we're going to fast forward here to the end of lap number 8, coming up the hill on this lap. This is going to be our in lap, and it looks like the front three are going to stay out, but then the GTR peels off at the very last moment, and we follow him into the pits for some new boots and a splash of fuel. As we come out of the pits here, you'll see that I've put in a bit more fuel than most. I do this all the time. I often stay in to get about a lap more fuel than I need, and whilst many will say it's overkill, it works for me as it gives me one less thing to stress about. I have enough trouble in these big FIA events, or any race in general to be honest, to keep it on the road and not bottle it. So if I have one less thing to worry about, taking fuel out of the equation, I tend to stay that extra second in the pits and forget about it. But meanwhile, we've come out in 10th here, right behind someone who hasn't come in yet, and by offering a speculative one up the inside here, I'm going to make quick work of this guy, mainly because he obliges. I assume that he's coming in at the end of this lap and just didn't want to fight it, but then he's almost going to spin us into the next corner, so maybe he wasn't okay with it after all. But never mind, we managed to catch it, and up to 9th we go, and time to try and get after that train of 6 cars you can see up ahead. Half of those cars though are going to come in here at the end of the lap, and after it was all said and done, we're going to come out in 6th, but crucially less than 3 seconds behind the leader. We're on a fresh set of mediums and I have fuel to spare. It's time to get my head down here and see what we can do about the group up in front. The first person of this group we're going to overtake is the Merc, who we make quick work of here as he's still on the tyres he started the race on, so he was a bit of a sitting duck really, but that doesn't matter to us. We are now up to 5th. Rejoining the action on the next lap here, you can see we're right up behind the Audi in 4th. We're going to get a good run here up the hill. We're sat in his slipstream, and although he's in the slipstream of the 2 in front, it won't be enough to save him. But what will be enough to save him is my rookie error. As you can see here, I'm going to pull alongside and I'm just going to go across the track. I'm going to get a 0.5 second penalty, frustratingly, but it's to be fair as we did cut the course. But keep your eye on the Audi there, who's going to go far too deep into the corner, turn in on me and then ricochet into the Paul Britt on the outside, who's gone from 2nd to 5th in 1 corner. Speaking of Paul Brits, it's now time for me to serve my half-second penalty, so I pull off the racing line to make sure I don't get in anyone's way, but that gives me the inside into turn number 4, and the Audi again just kind of turns in on me, which is going to fire him off wide, but thankfully we're not going to get a penalty and I managed to keep hold of 3rd. I wonder if there's anything we can do now about 2nd. Moving ahead to the next lap, we're on lap number 13 now. I've been following the Spaniard, just patiently biding my time, which is something you can do now in these longer FIA races, which is just applying consistent pressure to the car in front, trying to wait for either a mistake or that GTR to eat up its tyres, which it will do around here, and a mistake is about to happen. The GTR's front is just going to wash out and the Spaniard understeers wide, allowing me up the inside, which then turns into the outside as we come down into the penultimate corner here. I think we're all going to know from the title and thumbnail what is going to happen here. Coming down the hill, I give him enough room. Is he going to repay the favour? Of course he didn't. I'm going to get onto the grass there and just about save it, but I'm going to go wide and drop down to 6th as a result. Now I'm looking to you guys again, was that a fair move, or should he have left me the space? Let me know in the comments section down below. But either way, fair move or not, we're down to 6th here, but not for long as I channel my inner Daniel Ricciardo and take 5th back up the inside into turn number 1. I felt that I needed to be really aggressive there if I was going to recover any of the positions that I had just lost. And we've got just under 4 laps left now, so I need to get my head down here and see if we can get any of these places we just lost back. The guys in front are about 2.5 seconds up the road now after all of that. They are battling though as a threesome, so I'm hoping I can get there before time expires as they are holding each other up. As we come across the line here to start the final lap, you will be able to see that I've closed right up on the 3 up ahead, just as we'd hoped to do. Now we're going to stay on board here for the final lap. We still have plenty of fuel, so that's one less thing for us to worry about. The last thing that I want to be worrying about at this point is short shifting, coasting, that sort of stuff, to make sure that we eke every last bit of fuel out of the car. So that's why I overfuel, as I've mentioned earlier, so we can just concentrate on getting after these guys. Now the front 2 are breaking away a little bit, so it looks like this guy here is going to be the one we're going to try to get past, and 4th should be the best result we can get here. In hindsight, maybe I should just hang on and just sit here in 5th and just take that, considering what our door number is, but of course in the heat of the moment I'm going to try and do everything we can. So I'm going to wait for an opportunity, and that opportunity comes here. He's going to wash wide as we saw the GTR do before, and we're going to crucially dive up the inside just before this final corner. We're going to make sure that we stay well away from that grass. A little bit of snap oversteer there, under braking a little bit more, but that's fine. We managed to catch it on both occasions. We're going to get a good run up the hill, which should protect us here, and it looks like we're going to come all the way from 14th, where we were supposed to finish, up to 4th. Now I'm really happy as we cross the line there with that result. I really enjoy these FIAs because they produce races like this. As our fourth is confirmed there, let's see how it's affected our driver rating. So here we go then, here is our driver rating, and we're currently sitting after that one on 44,126. Now it seems a bit low, but I'm okay with it considering we're trying to recover after that slip up last time out at Sardinia. We also had some real fun and games in the impromptu stream we had last Saturday morning. So we are now just under 6,000 away from A+, but I'm still confident we can get to our goal of A+ before Christmas. But we'll have to wait until next time to see how we get on, as I'm going to end the video there, guys. I do hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please do hit that like button and make sure you're subscribed if you haven't already. We also now have merch too, so check that out in the Teespring store below and go get yourself some of that if you want to support the channel through that means. But thanks again, guys, so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Cheers.